Good evening, and thank you for joining us tonight for our Village of Alsip Committee meeting. Today is Monday, June 9th, 2025, and we'll call this meeting in order at 7:31 p.m. Can you call the roll, please?
Trustee Dalzell is absent. Trustee McLaughlin? Here. Trustee Murphy?
Here.
Trustee Prada?
Here.
Trustee Cahill? Here. Trustee Love? And Trustee Love is present via cell phone. And Mayor Ryan?
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. Please join us for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Before we start with our officer reports, we do have a bid opening this evening. This is our fiscal year 2026 street resurfacing program. So I'll give it to the clerk.
So we had 3 people drop off bids. So the first one we got was from Lindahl, located at 622 East Green Street, Bensonville, Illinois, 60106. There is a bid bond. Did you request checks or just the bid bonds?
Typically, we get the bonds,
Okay.
but they can pull that check.
Okay, and let me find their total. So their proposed total is $1,081,517.40. So that is 1,081,517.40.
And that was from Lindahl Brothers?
That was from Lindahl.
Okay.
The second one we got was from Gallagher Asphalt, located at 18100 South Indiana Avenue, Thornton, Illinois, 60476.
Yeah, we'd like to do the evening bid openings like this for transparency purposes. This way, everybody's here now at the same time.
There is a bid bond. And their total proposal is $1,221,424.20. So that is 1,221,424.20. And the last one we received from K5 Construction, located at 999 Oakmont Plaza Drive, Suite 200, Westmont, Illinois, 60559. I saw the bond. Oh, there is a bid bond. And their total is, proposal is $1,372,015 even. So that's 1,372,015 even. And those were all the bids that we received.
Very good, thank you. Trustees, in the interest of time, I've got some residents that came in this evening to hear about the planning and zoning case that was heard that we have on our agenda just for discussion. We're not going to vote on anything this evening on this, but I'd like to go out of line as this won't take long. Trustee Murphy, could you go to your planning and zoning licenses?
Sure. Item number 1, discussion of case number 202505S300, special use for an outside beer garden for the property located at 11501 South Pulaski. The Planning and Zoning Commission held a hearing on Wednesday, May 14th, with a vote of 4-1 in favor of, with outlined stipulations.
Very good. Was there anybody here from Las Fuentes? Yes. Sir? Can you come up to the mic first, please? Thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
You want to give us a short overview of what you plan to do there?
Yeah. First of all, my name is Regal Marquez, and I've been with Las Fuentes for about 26 years now. Mr. George Albaran is my uncle, the owner of the property. We're hoping to get permission to place a small patio outside for dining, primarily for late afternoons into the early evening. We don't expect a late crowd. We don't normally have a late crowd there. So, we're hoping for, an effort to boost our business on weekends, especially Friday and Saturday nights, with some outdoor dining if the weather is agreeable.
Okay. And Mr. Marquez, where are you going to locate? It's kind of an outdoor cafe, so what part of the building are you putting it?
We're going to put it adjacent between our property and the gentleman's property over here, which would be
East?
east, correct,
Okay.
exactly.
Okay.
On the east side of the building.
Okay. And ballpark, how many seats are going to be out there? How many tables?
Looking at about 15, 20 tables,
Okay.
maybe 40, 45 people.
Okay. All right. Trustees, any questions for Mr. Marquez?
So this would be more of a outdoor dining rather than a quote-unquote beer garden.
Absolutely. There's no intention for us to use it as a beer garden, per se, for people to come drink and sit outside. We're not a bar. We're a restaurant. So it's just an effort for people to be able to sit out, dine, have dinner, have a few drinks out there, and that's it. We're not looking for a primarily a drinking crowd or anything like that.
And how late would the hours go on Friday, Saturday?
Well, that's what we're seeking, and and we're flexible, of course, according to what you'll allow. Maybe 10 o'clock, 11 on a weekend, and during the weekday, 9, 10 o'clock. Serve our last customers potentially about 9, 9:30, and have it cleared up by 10 o'clock.
Chief, have you had any police involvement at that restaurant or any infractions at all?
No, we have no objections or no issues with the restaurant as far as any calls for service there. I would make a recommendation, though, of 10 p.m. being the cutoff point. As you know, there have been complaints from the residents in that area about noise already, so.
Roger, I'll defer to building commissioner too. With this particular plan, are you okay with parking? Still going to be adequate?
Yes, there will be adequate parking. What they agreed upon was reducing the size to 24 by 50, putting up the fence and then putting up ballards every 5 feet. This way protecting the pedestrians inside while they're eating.
Okay. And we require all these meetings, so Roger said it does have adequate parking, and you're going to put up parking ballards every 5 feet to protect the obviously the clients.
Yeah, our one of our main concerns would be the safety of our clients, our customers,
Right.
as they're seated in that area. So we've reached out to Roger and we've spoken to him, and whatever he recommends, whatever he suggests we do, we'll follow through completely.
Okay. And trustees on this side, anybody have any questions?
Is there any intention for like outdoor music or bands, anything of that nature to be out there?
Well, my understanding is you have a sound amplification ordinance,
Right.
is that correct? Yeah, so, no, there was no intention to
Okay.
promote loud music or live music, nothing of that sort. If that would have been our intention, we would have done it inside our location, and we've never done that. We've never had any live after-hour music or any bands come in or anything like that.
Okay, thank you.
Is this going to be seasonal? Summertime
Oh,
only?
Absolutely.
Good weather?
Yeah,
Okay.
Absolutely. During COVID, if you recall, you gave us special permission, and we had it out there. And I don't think anybody ever complained. I don't think we ever received any kind of complaint about noise or anything else. And that was our primary restaurant area during COVID. And we put a tent out there, but it didn't do very well. People don't want to sit out there if it's cold,
Right.
even if it's a little chilly. So, no, we have no intention on putting a tent over it.
Okay. Yeah, I hate to monopolize the conversation, which is obviously why I'm deferring to everybody else. These are who's voting. I vote in the event of a tie, but I want obviously
Absolutely.
enough
Second
engagement
answer.
here, too. No, I wish you well, and we'll certainly consider this at next week's meeting then, too, Mr.
Well,
Marquez.
we've been around a long time. We've been in the neighborhood a long time. We've been good neighbors for a long time. I think I emphasized that in our last meeting. We don't have any complaints. We haven't had any problems. We work with the community. We've worked with the parking from the residents or tenants in the next building. They frequently park in our lot overnight sometimes. They'll frequently park when visitors come over, and we've never called the police on them, never had a vehicle towed. And, in the high school Marist, parents all park in our lot in the afternoon waiting for their kids. We've never once had a problem with that.
Right. Okay.
I see the one handicap spot's going to be eliminated. Are you planning, or did we approve of them adding another one somewhere else?
It will be in the front.
In the front? Okay. Very good.
Trustee Love, I didn't want to not acknowledge you. Did you have any questions on this?
Yes, Mayor, I was going to ask, since they do have a neighbor in that area, what type of lighting is going to be used so that it's not interfering?
Mr. Marquez, any issues, or Roger, with lighting out there? I mean, it's not going to throw more light on the area or to interfere with the homeowners?
No, we have
Nearby.
sufficient lighting out there for the parking lot.
Yeah.
It should be clear enough for the individual. Plus, you're right outside our glass doors. It's going to be right there. And then the light bleeding in from the restaurant, plus the little table lamps that'll be on each table.
Okay.
Should be sufficient lighting.
Okay.
Not intending on increasing the lighting.
I don't know if you heard that, Bill, but he said it was adequate. Okay. Okay. All right. Thanks, Mr. Marquez. I appreciate it.
Thank you very
Okay.
much.
And we had some residents that came out. You folks, did you want to have any input into the conversation? Come on up if you would, one at a time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Great, thanks.
Thank you.
Oh, go ahead, sir. If you would just introduce yourself.
My name is Steve Novak. I'm the owner of the building that's next to the Fuentes.
Okay.
As you can
3931?
see- Yeah, and also 3932-40.
Oh, okay, both of them.
Okay, so I highlighted those. Excuse the crude drawing, but anybody that knows the area can kind of visualize. It has a better, so the blue, obviously, the Fuentes restaurant. The yellow is the proposed,
Cafe?
yeah. And so I understand, I understand business. I've owned a building for over 20 years, okay? So my concern are my tenants, and they're as far as just being, we already have a problem with deuces, okay? I'm sure the officer here could, I'm sure they get calls, okay? We have, to deal with that, okay? Definitely a different crowd. And I know they had the beer garden out there years ago, and we didn't have a problem, okay? And I understand business that, I want them to succeed. And, the beer garden, honestly, I mean, if I had my things, no, I wouldn't want it there, okay? But I think, as a businessman, he has a right to, try to expand his business to promote his industry. And, he's trying to, get a chance for more revenue, and I understand that. But it shouldn't be at the expense of my tenants, okay? So my thing is that if you guys do allow the outdoor cafe, what I heard was, a few things as far as, the music and the lighting, and the response was, it's not my intention. Well, I would like to have restrictions. If you guys do allow the beer garden, I'd like to have restrictions where, that's, for one, as far as hour-wise, that's, I want to see 9 o'clock. I don't want to see anything past 9 o'clock. We got tennis there. As you see, it's 69 feet from the present building to my building, okay? And now that's going to be 24 feet, so that means you've got 45 feet from the edge of the cafe to a window, okay? So, as we know, when it doesn't even have to involve alcohol, okay? We have a Super Bowl party every year. It's I'm a born again Christian, so there's no alcohol there. But I tell you what, we're, the ladies are over there, we're over there trying to hear the game, and you got to turn the volume up on TV, and then this gets volume. So just normal conversation, okay, gets a little loud, okay. So I just don't want my tenants to be disturbed, because you know what's going to happen? They're going to leave, okay, and I'm going to have to try to get somebody in there, okay, and if they're going to get disturbed, I'm going to get calls, and because they can't sleep, okay. They have a little baby, you know how that is. You put the baby down. Last thing you want to be woken up at night, or having them wake up at night, okay. So I'm not opposed to the outdoor patio, but I want some restrictions, okay. Anything that's going to be going on past 10 o'clock at night or 11 o'clock, especially, I can't say for sure, but for myself, and I think for most people, if I'm going to have a cocktail or whatever, it's going to be 9, 10 o'clock at night, 11 o'clock at night. I'm usually not going to go out and have a full meal at 9 o'clock at night or 10 o'clock at night. So, so I think, in my opinion, I think there's going to be drinking out there. Now you introduce that, and now you're going to get some volume, okay? And again, I myself, would like to see restrictions put on there to limit to once a certain time gets there, the cafe has to shut down and everybody's got to leave that area, okay? So that's what I would like to see. I want him to succeed as a businessman, okay? So, I'm not, like I said, I'm not opposed to that, that he wants to expand his business, but it's got to be something that does not hinder my business. And so I just ask if you guys do approve that there be restrictions on music, there be restrictions on time. So.
Very
that's it.
good.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mr. Novak. Anybody else?
Any questions?
Oh, I'm sorry, too, I should ask. I apologize. Anybody have a question for Mr. Novak on that? No? All right. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
Sir, come on up.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Larry Austin. I am a resident of that building, and my window was right on the parking lot. Right, so, like Steve said, we're not here to hinder anyone's business because we all want to make the money, and we understand that. It's just unfortunately at certain times at night, and when we're trying to sleep, I mean, even if they're not drinking, if they could just clear the lot out. I mean, you guys are done, and they're leaving the restaurants, and people are hanging out in the parking lots. I mean, and that is right under my window. That's right under my window, and I'm a retired veteran, and I have a hard time sleeping as it is. So if I can get some sleep, if I can fall to sleep, I surely most definitely don't want to wake up out of my sleep because people don't want to go home.
Mm-hmm.
So if I agree with Steve, if they can cut it to 9, maybe.
Roger, I got to read the transcript again. I wasn't at the meeting, obviously, but did they impose any restrictions at the
They
meeting?
impose restrictions. Last seating, Sunday through Thursday would be 9 p.m. and then Fridays and Saturdays, last seating would be 10 p.m. and they would be closed by 11 on those 2 days, and then 10 o'clock Sunday through Thursday.
So nobody's out there after 10 o'clock? From Sunday to Thursday, nobody out there after 11 o'clock on the weekends. Is that accurate, Mr. Marquez?
Absolutely.
Okay.
We have Deuces also over there, and when these clubs are closing, and these places are closing, you still have people gathering in the lots.
Yeah.
Now, we can hear from Deuces, like it's a different crowd, but you can hear 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, people just playing don't want to go home, playing their music in the parking lot. You know, I'm not saying that they're drunk or they're going to get drunk at his place, but when it's 9 o'clock, then you guys have to, they need to come outside, go to the parking lot, clear the parking lot out, and just respect the people that live in the building for their peace of mind.
Okay.
All right?
Mr. Austin, I appreciate your input. Any questions for Mr. Austin? Larry, thanks for coming out tonight and stuff yet then too. And we'll be talking more about this next week. Ma'am, come on up. Hi.
My name is Melinda Caldwell. I reside at 39 West 115th.
You can pull that thing down. Yeah, there you go.
West 115th Street. And I've been over there over a decade, really, almost 20 years. At his other building being over the building that I'm at now.
Okay.
And I was over there before Deuces was ever there. And when the pandemic came, I was over there, and the lighting, and I have seen people leaving the restaurant where they trying to get the outdoor garden. They come out drunk and drag the pillars that you park in front, drag it through the alley to the other part where Deuce is at, or up the alley. I have seen people just come out and they be so intoxicated, loud music, the cars when they rig the motors, and Deuce is just ridiculous. On Fridays and Saturdays, on Saturday they have a band now. Hear the music, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. I had a sister, she passed last year, in August be a year. She didn't get no rest.
Mm-hmm.
She couldn't rest because of the noise. And I'm up rubbing her stomach and praying for her, and nobody cared. I called the police, and I put in reports. My name should be in the system because I come down here and I have health issues. And it's just too much. It's too much. I understand it's a business, but we need some peace.
So Deuces doesn't have a beer garden. That was denied, and, you know...
Yeah, but I'm saying how they party in the parking lot. I have a video.
Yeah. No, I mean, we've addressed that with the chief recently, yeah.
Okay, but long as they can keep it down and shut it down at a decent time,
Okay.
because I'm on a lot of medication,
Right.
and I need my rest, and I get up and go to church on Sundays, and at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, I just can't do it.
No, I sympathize with you. I'm sorry you're going through that. And much like any community, I mean, lately, we're dealing with, and Chief knows, we've been talking about this lately, if it's not that kind of activity with music and so forth.
Alcohol, once you get alcohol in you, you're free.
Yeah.
It's free.
But I'm saying even like the street right in front of your building, I mean, people now with these new 2-stage mufflers, and it sounds like gunshots and stuff like that. It's just ridiculous what folks are doing.
Once they leave out the parking lot, it's just something about, and you're drinking, you're another person. That's why it's called spirits.
Mm-hmm. I get you.
Spirits.
Yeah.
So once that spirit get in them, and you turn into somebody else, and some people can handle, some people can't.
Well, that's what the board's going to discuss. Sounds like hours are of question obviously for the nearby residents. That's what this board's going to have to discuss is, if we're going to impose anything beyond or different than what they discussed at the Plan Commission hearing. Okay. All right. Thank you.
Ma'am, would you mind signing in, please?
Just so we know who we talked to. Anybody else want to have a comment? Mr. Marquez? Sure.
I had a hard time hearing what was being
Okay.
said.
All right.
So do I understand these complaints were just about Deuces, they were not about us, is that correct?
I think it was just, it sounded like it was a pullover, yeah, a little bit, but at the same time, they're just concerned with, the noise affecting the buildings with the proximity is what everybody seemed to be about. So, obviously, I was making notes, the majority of folks were looking at 9 or 10 p.m. As far as, I'm sorry, that was what you had said, but everybody was around 9 p.m. to close, for closing the cafe.
The last seating?
Yeah.
And then, of course, people may want to sit and eat, and by 10 o'clock, I would expect them to be gone.
I think that's what we're going to talk about here, yeah.
I'd just like to point out that I don't want to get wrapped up in the same conversation as Deuces. We're not a bar. We've been here, I don't know how long the tenants have lived there, but we have been there for quite some time. And I believe nobody's ever filed a complaint against us or anything to that sort. So we've been good neighbors for quite some time out there. And we're not a Deuces. It's not a beer garden. I don't know why we got called a beer garden. It's just outdoor dining, that's it. There'll be nothing going on out there that would not go on inside our establishment. There'll be no special type of drinking or anything to that effect. If somebody wants to come in and have a margarita in our restaurant inside and just eat some light food, then they'll be able to do the same thing out there. If you want a full dinner and you just want to eat and enlarge with a group or anything, it'll be the same. So we don't expect any type of special crowd, and we're not trying to reach out and bring out a special beer garden crowd or anything like that. They got Deuces for that. We're just a restaurant.
Okay.
That's all we want to do.
All right.
And we'll cooperate any way we can with them. If there's any issues or anything, we'll leave our number there. You're free to contact me if there's any problem with noise or anything like that. And we'll do what we can and take care of that. It's just an effort to improve business. We're slow. Taxes are high like everybody else's. We have the overhead expenses, and we're just trying to find another revenue source. That's all it is.
Mr. Marquez, what are your hours of operation inside the restaurant?
Well, you're not referring to our liquor license. You're referring simply, we never go past our liquor license.
Let me rephrase that. How late, what are your hours of operation for the kitchen?
10 o'clock.
On weekends as well?
Yes.
Okay.
And honestly, we rarely stay open that late. If we're dead, We have no business. By 9 o'clock, 8:30, 9, we're closed.
Okay.
Mr. Marquez, the outdoor dining area, will that ever be rented out for party space?
We've never had anybody reach out to us in...
Will you be renting that out for parties?
We can just say no to that if we want to.
Yeah, I mean, let me explain something. We have a location 2558 North Halsted. We have a huge outdoor dining area. If you Google us, you'll see the outdoor patio dining area. We are approximately a small alley across from a house. That's how close we are. We have a 1 a.m. license out there to have music and food out there. I will give you the phone number to Alderman Knutson, and you can free to ask him, any of you, reach out. I'll ask him first, let him know you're calling. You're free to ask him, has he ever had a complaint of noise for us or any of the neighbors who are right adjacent to our outdoor dining area? I mean adjacent. The alley's so small you can only fit one car through at a time. And that's how close the next house is and the house behind us. We just don't, we try to live with our neighbors, so we try to keep the noise down.
Are you planning on having TVs out there?
No, definitely not.
Okay.
We do have them on our Halsted location. We have TVs, we keep the volume off. So if for some reason we do put them out there, though we're not planning, we would have the volume off as we do inside the restaurant. If you've ever been in our restaurant, the games are on, we don't have the volume on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you can watch the game, but you can't hear it.
All right. Okay.
Thank you.
No worries. Thanks much. You know what, sir, I can't, but go ahead, if you want to make a final comment, I'm not going to make this a debate. Okay. Yeah.
I know you say you guys had any complaints. Just because you haven't had any complaints don't mean we just haven't complained. Because we know how things can go from 0 to 10 real quick.
Mm-hmm.
When the police and people get drunk, show up together. So we just haven't complained. But we are not, I'm not cool with that. I just haven't called anyone on them.
I agree.
They have had live bands. We have heard the music. I have heard the people under my window.
But this is...
Just haven't complained. And this is, I ain't talking about deuces.
Right. But Las Fuentes, you got bands at Las Fuentes too?
I heard loud music. I heard
No,
it.
sir, we've never had any live entertainment.
But maybe it's just loud music.
Yeah.
It was just loud music then, but I don't peek through the window, but I heard it.
Okay.
I heard it. And when they open their windows, their doors, you can hear everything.
Right. All right. Well, thanks for the trust. Okay. All right. Thank you very much for everybody participating in that. And as I was talking to a couple of the residents when they came in, we'll move on with the rest of our meeting. You're not offending us if you want to leave here. That's fine, folks. But thank you very much for joining us tonight, too. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thanks. We'll go back to our officers' reports, starting with mine. First this evening, we had a presentation by Hera Property Registry regarding foreclosed and vacant property registration programs. Stan, you want to come up?
Good evening, Mayor, trustees, and
Good evening.
thank you for the opportunity. I don't know where to start other than I have to apologize because our platform that you would be using, I can't demonstrate it without getting into your system, and we don't want to be doing that kind of stuff.
Oh, okay. Okay.
But if any of the trustees or you, well, Mayor, you actually saw the platform at one point, but if any trustees want, you have my business card, you can get a hold of me. We can set up a Teams meeting or a Zoom meeting where we can show it live. The reason that it's difficult is our platform is live. It's not a screenshot. It's not a web page. It's actually showing you names, addresses, and phone numbers to banks that own foreclosed properties and vacant properties. So we can't print that out because it's proprietary information to the communities that we're doing business with already. Okay, if that makes sense. Otherwise, please.
So,
just reach
Stan,
out to me.
if they want to see a demonstration, And again, we don't want to violate any Open Meetings Act where everybody's watching
Oh, no,
something
that's what I said, individually.
individually.
Yes.
Because when you showed it to me, you had a person at your office do that and so forth. So if the trustees individually wanted to contact, you make arrangements and they can sit through a demo. Right.
And she's, as I said in the office, my Vanna White. She knows which buttons to press. I was trained all day today. Now, when I got here, I'm going, oh, this is not going to work with the system you have.
So can you just give us kind of
Yes,
a
that's
brief overview of what
I
it
just
does?
wanted to let you,
Yeah.
knew because of your office, we were going to hook up and do that. It just isn't going to work. Here's what we do. We are the only vendor that this community will ever do business with that you'll never get an invoice. In turn, what you will get is we will provide a positive revenue stream where you will get money every month. More important than the money is the information that you will get. We'll start with foreclosures. Those are the easy ones. Banks handle foreclosures. I can guarantee you that nobody in this room knows about their neighbor or their house down the street that may be in foreclosure. Nobody puts a sign out there. Nobody says, unless they talk to their neighbors and they say, I can't make the payment. Number one, our company will never contact the person or persons that are living in there under the act of foreclosure. We only deal with the banks, period. We want to make sure everybody gets reelected. We don't want to get any of your tenant, your residents all upset because we feel sorry for them as you do. They're in the process of losing their house. So what we do is we do the research. As soon as the courts have been notified of a failure to make a mortgage payment and they initiate the foreclosure papers, it's a registered document in the courthouse. We have over 50 people on staff that sit at computers all day long, going through all the courts and seeing who filed a foreclosure. Very simply, when a foreclosure is done, it will say Chase Bank of Nebraska has filed a foreclosure at 123 Alsip Lane against Mr. and Mrs. Jones. That's all it says. Our people then have to go to the court records, pull up the plat of survey, find out the PIN number, find out who the bank is that filed it. Yes, we know it's Chase Bank of Nebraska, but which branch? That's the catch. We provide the address of the bank in Nebraska. We provide the person's name that initiated the foreclosure on behalf of the bank, an email address, and a phone number. Because by the ordinance that you would need to pass, that will all be in the ordinance. It will be a law that they must file. Underneath that, what's more important, when you get a foreclosure, the courts appoint a property management company. That's the most important people at that point, because if you're in foreclosure, you usually don't take care of the house the way you used to. So the grass starts to get this tall, the windows are broken, they don't care. The gutters are falling off, they don't care. We provide you the name and address of the property manager that was assigned to keep that property in good condition. We provide you with the name, address, and phone number. And what you'll be surprised when, if you take the time to see the survey, not the survey, the platform, there's no foreclosures in any particular town that the local bank is holding the paper. They are all over the country. Because you may fill out the paper at Chase and Alsip, but within hours that paper is sold to another bank. It's transferred and transferred constantly. And in some cases it ends up with the federal government, with Freddie Mae or Freddie Mac. So it takes a lot to trace. Now, it sounds like it's difficult. If you had a staff of maybe 4 or 5 people sitting at computers all day long, they could do the same thing. But it's going to cost you money to do it. So now you're still thinking, Stan said, we're not going to send a bill. No. In your ordinance, the national average to register with our over 200 communities that we're doing business with already nationally is $325 per registration. Keep in mind, we said we'd never contact a resident. The bank has no legal right to pass that on and include it in the foreclosure and make the people living there pay it. Why? It's not in their mortgage document. What's in their mortgage document? The mortgage payment and the taxes. That's it. They can't go, oh, we just got a bill, we got to give it to you, you got to pay it. Impossible. It's already been tried in court in New York and in New Jersey, and the courts found the banks liable. So, that being said, why is this information important? Code enforcement, I'm not saying it's always going to happen, but they need to find out who the owner of that property is. If it's in foreclosure and it's vacant, your fire department probably needs to know about it. Your police department needs to know about it. If they're out on a call at 2 o'clock in the morning in a vacant foreclosed property, who do they call? They call your building commissioner. Who owns this property? Now they just have to type in 123 Alsip Lane on their tough books, and the addresses, phone numbers, and names and addresses, emails are all right there. If you have to do a board up, send the bill right to the bank. It's all at your fingertips. So let's say you do for $325 registration fee every 6 months. Comes out to be $650 a year. Sounds like a lot to all of us. To a bank, it doesn't mean anything, because here's the deal. Banks don't register. They hire companies like Braun, MCIS, and there's over 20 different registrant companies that the banks pay to do the registrations. Why? They just don't want to play with it, I guess. So we collect $325. We have all the information posted daily on that platform. What do we do with it? Within 30 days after that, we send you a check minus $125. You're technically not paying us. The bank is paying us through your ordinance. We keep $125 of every registration. If there are late fees, which there's going to be, it's 33% of the late fee, which is denoted in the ordinance, and that's up to the trustees to decide. We will keep 33% of the late fee. Late fees can be, and you'll see, the community that I was going to show you tonight is Evergreen Park. You're close in size. They have a few more foreclosures than you folks do, but not a lot. In your little portfolio that I gave you, currently you have a map in there of your city, your village. And I believe it's 33 foreclosed
37.
properties that have been filed just in the last 12 months.
37.
How many?
37.
Thank you. I stand corrected. 37 active just in the last 12 months, and that'll change daily. It'll go down, it'll go up, it'll go up, and it'll go down. But as of today, it was 37. That's quite a few for a town of 18,000, 19,000 people. Evergreen Park had 50. They're at 19,000. They're like 1,000 population more than you are. Now, there are other communities in South Cook that are devastated. Homewood, everybody thinks that's the land of milk and honey. 119 foreclosures in 12 months. There is no community that it's not affected. I happen to live in DuPage County. I was elected like you folks were in Downers Grove. Downers Grove is a population of 50,000. They have 149 foreclosures. Everybody thinks DuPage County, there is no bad people there. No, everybody pays their bills. It's happening across the country. We're meeting currently with the city of Chicago. You don't even want to know. They have over 5,280, to be exact, foreclosures. I emphasize 12 months because I think you should be aware of the fact that papers are filed on June 1st. It takes 3 years to go through the court system in Illinois. Our rule of thumb is whatever number you have, 37, multiply that by 2 or 3, because that's only in the last 12 months. How many were filed in 2024? How many are going to be filed in 2026? How many are going to be filed the rest of this year? The numbers do not go down. They're not as bad as they were in 2008, but they are bad. And the worst news is the worst county in the country, Cook County. the worst state in the country? Illinois, for foreclosures. Now, currently, my research shows that you have a vacant property registration program. If you want to keep doing that yourselves, be my guest. We're just here to add to it. It's called preventive maintenance. The mayor down in Macomb said, I said, Mayor, you've only got 3 foreclosures. What are you doing? He goes, I'm being prepared in case 2008 comes back again. Doesn't cost me money. You give me information. How can this be a loss? This is a win-win for my community. So I'm just here to say we're here to offer a service that's going to cost you nothing, and we could possibly create a revenue stream. What's that going to do? Is it going to go to the police department? Maybe.
Jail
Being an
ticket, no
ex-commissioner, I know what it's like, and being a city manager, it's worse. Because every year they want to buy bullets. I said, can you give me a count how many bullets did you use last year? Well, last year you gave us money for 6,000 bullets. Well, did you shoot? Okay. We'll get beat up the police officer because I made you get out of here.
Well, I'll tell you, obviously, code enforcement's important for any community to be
Where
successful.
it should go, and it does in majority of it, is to offset the cost of taking care of the vacant properties that nobody's cutting the grass.
Right.
That costs your community money. Public Works guy don't work for nothing. So it should go right to Public Works. Other than that, I'd like to...
All right. I'm going to let Jay and Mike duke it out later and stuff, but maybe Roger gets a hand in there. Stan, can you do me a favor, please? Can you, because I got to get to a lot of it busy, but can you send me a copy of that ordinance? Because I really want to look at that and stuff.
Of yours or...
Of what you're proposing.
I'll give you that tonight.
Okay, thanks.
I came prepared.
All right.
Other than that, any questions from any of the trustees, please ask me something so I work
Well, I tell you,
my money.
first, I'm impressed with the list of communities in Illinois that have joined your programs thus far. And as you said, things can be tough sometimes. And regardless of the median household incomes or anything like that, you do have some affluent communities here. Bolingbrook is a major community. Orland Park. There's a handful of them in here and stuff yet, too. Prospect Heights is a big community.
Well, to give you a little bit of other information, I'm sure everybody here that's sitting up there knows what SSMMA stands for. You all know? Okay, we all know. They have 40 members. 16 of them are partners of ours already. I'm meeting with Glenwood Monday night. I'm meeting with Mark, well, I met with Mark on Friday, and it's on the agenda for the last meeting in June. So pretty soon we'll have all 40. And it's helped every one of them.
Right.
So I hope to hear from everybody. What I'll do is I'll give you hard copies, but I'll send you electronic copies.
Thanks. Okay.
And what I would also do is I will independently, so we don't break the Open Meetings Act, send each one of the trustees reference letters that we've received from mayors.
Okay.
So that they have, and feel free to contact any of the communities that you'd like. If you want names of who you can communicate with that we've worked with, please reach out to me. You got my card. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Stan.
Thank you.
Stan.
Hi. Thank you very much. So we'll go on to the rest of our reports. Next on the agenda this evening was a request to reappoint Planning and Zoning Commissioner Robert Braden to a new term as a commissioner for the commission. He'll serve on that until April 30th of 2028. And then finally, from my report, was a presentation of the Alsip Bicycle and Pedestrian Plan by Eric Mueller of Epstein Engineering. Eric, thanks for your patience. Okay.
Perfect. Just gonna sit here for this. Hello everyone, my name is Eric Mueller. I am a planner with Epstein. We are an architecture, engineering, construction firm based out of Chicago. And we've had the absolute pleasure to help the village work on their bicycle and pedestrian plan. I didn't put their logo on here, but we did this along with CMAP, the Chicago Metropolitan Agency for Planning, who funded the project and acted as a project manager and they have been a huge help as well for this. We started the project back in about January or February of 2024, so it hasn't even been a year and a half yet, but I just wanted to take you through kind of the process and what we've done, but really focus on what the community has said about the project and what we are proposing within the plan. So the first thing we wanted to look at was just the vision and goals of this plan, which is envisioning that Alsip as a place where walking and bicycling within the village is safe and comfortable for people of all abilities, making walking or bicycle the most desirable choice for residents, with goals of improving equity and accessibility, improving pedestrian infrastructure, increasing bicycle infrastructure, and improving public transportation infrastructure as well. One of the most important things we did in this was public engagement. In order to make a plan that is suitable for the village of Alsip, we need to talk to its residents and actually understand the experiences they're having. Within this, we had several steering committee meetings, which were made up of people from various agencies within and throughout the region that could help speak to the environment as well, such as different roadway jurisdictions. I believe we had someone from IDOT, as well as someone from the county. We had DOTH on the steering committee as well. We did some walking tours and biking tours. We appeared at public events at a table to talk to residents, and we also had several surveys. We had one that just asked people about their experiences. We had a design preference survey where people discussed what type of facilities they would like to see. We had a student survey where we asked students how they currently get to school and what could encourage them to bike and walk. And then we also had a survey just talking about policies and programs that we are recommending. It's a little hard to see this, but essentially you'll be able to see this much better in the full plan. What it's saying is like this, what is discouraging people from biking? A lot of it is driver behavior, traffic volume, lack of facilities for walking. Lack of sidewalk facilities was a big thing on why people don't want to walk more. Preferred bicycle facilities was shared use paths, which is or also known as a side path. It's essentially a wider sidewalk, usually around 10 feet, that goes adjacent to the roadway that bicyclists and pedestrians are both able to use. That was by far the most popular facility option, as well as protected bike lanes and buffered bike lanes, which are lanes separated from the roadway with paint. And then just improving sidewalks and bike lanes was a way people wanted to improve safety at intersections. So just being able to have more sidewalks and safe crossings, people really expressed a desire for that. These are currently how people get around, or for the student survey, which a lot was like school bus and driving their car. And I'm having trouble reading that as well. But to increase active transportation, the number one thing for students was more sidewalks. They want to see more sidewalks within the village in order to be able to walk to school. And the key findings we had from this were improved pedestrian facilities and accessibility, safer crossings were a big thing that residents talked about, improved bicycle facilities, but also completing trail connections such as the one with the CalSag Trail or Stony Creek, just trails that kind of stop and they don't have a safe way of continuing to the next portion or accessing other trails. So completing those connections was important for people. The main thing to highlight here is currently looking at the the village of Alsip. We have 3.8 miles of existing bicycle network, much of that made up of trails, and then 63.5% are miles of sidewalk, which is good to have, but obviously there are key gaps that the village will want to fill in. And this is looking at just comfort level. So while there are a lot of roadways that are good and low stress intersections, in other words, people feel comfortable crossing them, there are a lot, especially on major routes such as Pulaski and Cicero, 115th. You're looking at ones where people just don't feel safe. Almost half are very high for intersections, and then for just biking, essentially what that's saying is they're very high-stress roadways. The only people who are going to be biking in that are the dedicated bikers who like to weave in and out of traffic because they like the adrenaline rush and they'll bike anywhere. That's who's going to be biking on those roadways. But we want to get these down to where people who don't bike currently but are interested in biking and would like to, but like a lot of times is what's going to encourage people to bike more. So after looking at all of this and taking into account what residents of Alsip had said in surveys and at events, we came up with our proposed bicycle network for the village of Alsip. And if you have the presentation in your computer, you'll be able to see it better, as well as with the plan which has been finalized and sent to the village as well. We're proposing 1.4 miles of bike lanes, some bicycle pedestrian bridges. I'll point those out there on 119th Street over the creek, and then over the Tri-State Highway down on, I believe, is that Laramie? I think on the going over the Tri-State Highway as well, if I'm not mistaken. Laramie, thank you. And then 3.5 miles of bicycle boulevards, which are essentially streets that are already good for biking, but just making sure drivers know that bicyclists are allowed to ride on that road and they have priority as well on that road. And usually the roadways are too narrow to actually do any kind of real infrastructure on them. And then 14.1 miles of shared use paths, which, to call back to the survey, was the most desired bicycle facility amongst residents. In addition to that, we are proposing what is known as universal mobility. In other words, filling in the gaps of the sidewalk network. Wherever it is feasible to put a sidewalk, we're recommending that sidewalk be installed. And so while there are over 60 miles of sidewalk existing, there's nearly 60 miles of gap. And so that's what that is nearly 60 miles of new sidewalks. Those are filling in the existing gaps that are there. And we have we proposed phasing for this that mostly focused on starting at and around schools. So where schools are, that's where the priority of the sidewalk infill should go, and then kind of going out from there on a per mile basis, just kind of building out from the schools, but making sure children are able to walk to school safely. And if more kids can walk and bike to school, that can alleviate a lot of congestion and traffic and unsafe conditions that drop off and pick up tends to present in most communities. And that's more just talking about the implementation. So starting with 1/4 mile of schools, then out to 1/2 mile, and then the rest of the village. A lot of different recommendations we make for intersections just to improve safety for people to cross at these. Some of them are turning radius reductions, which just make it safer, so cars have to go slower around curves and can improve visibility of pedestrians crossing. Making sure curb ramps are ADA compliant, high visibility crosswalks to make pedestrians more visible. Some of them might be traffic signals or marked bike crossings, pedestrian refuge islands, so if it's a long way to cross, people have a place to stop to feel safe, as well as at-grade railroad crossings, bump outs to improve visibility as well, in addition to what we have on the list. So public transportation in this project, it is a little trickier. Just obviously you don't have jurisdiction over where the buses go, how they're going to go, but we wanted to give you a recommendation that you could take to the public transit agency and kind of say, hey, we think this could work, and start talking with them and discussing what it could look like. And so kind of what we're looking at here is what's known as a circulator route. And so it's taking it's doing a loop around the village along key routes such as 115th Street, Kedzie, 119th, Pulaski, 123rd, 122nd, and Central. And it would branch off to Rivercrest as well, so people could access the shopping center as well as a lot of the north-south routes. When we looked at the transit, Alsip has several north-south bus routes, but not a lot in terms of east-west. And that was something we believed should be improved upon. And then finally, while the infrastructure is the exciting stuff that people usually like to get into, policies are incredibly important just to be able to pave the way to implement a lot of this infrastructure. And some of these are incredibly easy to pass. They're just very basic ordinances. For instance, Bike Month Declaration. It has now passed, but the month of May is Bike Month, National Bicycle Month. It's essentially just a declaration saying, hey, we recognize this month as National Bicycle Month, and then in addition to that, offering some different programs to promote biking and safe biking throughout the month and the rest of the year. But some of the big ones are Vision Zero, which is a commitment to end all traffic fatalities and serious injuries by a target date. You've probably seen language of this regarding the safety action plans that Cook County was putting on, as well as the other counties within the region. A bike parking ordinance that will just establish kind of how many bike parking spaces are needed, and also kind of looking at what should the design of these bike parking be. Having a discussion with Divvy and encouraging expansion into Alsip. They currently do operate in Evanston, so going outside of the city of Chicago is not out of the question. No right turn on red at select intersections, and you can even make it time-based as well. Preventing people from turning right on red is a great way to decrease pedestrian crashes and just helping pedestrians be able to cross the street safely. Design standards for roads, and this kind of ties into other things, just making sure that when roads get resurfaced, there's just a set of design standards that are followed that can go across the village. And of course the ADA transition plan, just making sure that all the infrastructure, sidewalks, curb ramps are ADA accessible and compliant with the Americans with Disabilities Act. And then just a few programs, increasing wayfinding signage to help residents and visitors find their way around the community. Auto enforcement strategies, that was one we did have, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, had some support from the community on, trying to remember, I think it was red light cameras, but I can't completely remember what those are. Those results are in the plan as well. Public building loaner locks, another one that can be great to do. And this is where the library, the police station, or village hall could offer bike locks to people. So they ride their bike, they don't have one with them, they can come in and pay a very small fee, like $1, or for free, whatever the village decides to do. They get a bike lock, they return it when they're done. And then bike rodeos are just a great way to educate children on safe bike practices, usually hosted by police departments in a parking lot. Set up a bunch of cones, kids have a chance to ride their bikes around, have helmet fittings, and just understand the different rules of the road, and just a great way to make sure kids are riding safe. With that, I just wanted to conclude, the public has expressed a big desire to improve walking and biking within the village, and want to see more infrastructure, want to see more sidewalks, want to be able to get to locations, whether it be parks or schools. A lot of students want to be able to get to school by walking and biking. We overall, just over 14 miles of off-street facilities, almost 60 miles of sidewalks, and 25 different intersections we're recommending. We have recommendations in nearly 5 miles of on-street facilities, a bunch of policies and programs that will really help the infrastructure thrive and be able to help that infrastructure go into place, and also just support. Infrastructure is great, but you also want to support a culture of biking and walking, so that people understand that it's safe and also understand how to do it safely. We have recently just finished the plan. This is a little dated, but we have finished the plan, and we will be sending out, in lieu of a steering committee meeting, we will be sending that out this Wednesday to the steering committee, so they have a chance just to be able to see what they helped out on with that. Overall, this was a great plan to work on. Mayor Ryan and the rest of his staff in the Village of Alsip and CMAP were wonderful to work with, and we truly believe that we have a plan with recommendations that will serve and help Alsip really become a more bikeable and walkable community, just as the community desires. Thank you.
Also, I want to acknowledge both our village engineer, Jeff Hagan, and Public Works Superintendent, Mike Frater. Thanks, guys, for participating in this whole program with us and stuff yet, too. We actually, the guys came out when we even participated in bike rides together and stuff. We actually went out and scouted out trails. We did a lot of walking, you know. I mean, even at the end of last year, we went out and walked quite a bit and stuff yet, too. Excuse me, to identify some new best practice.
I also wanted to congratulate the village on the ITEP grant winning. I saw that in the newspaper out there, so wonderful to see that, and sidewalks already starting to be planned for Hazel Green.
Thank you. You know, we're going to try and address as many different areas as we can with at least one sidewalk on a street, you know, and we got one of the top grants, though, too. Thanks, Eric, for acknowledging that. Trustees, did you have any questions for Eric? This was really a good project. We had gotten about a $100,000 grant to do this. This project took over a year to do, but it was very obviously, you know, I've got a master copy that I printed earlier, and 90 pages of plan that we have here and stuff here, too. But this is the official document I'm going to hang on to defer to as needed and stuff then, too.
Absolutely.
But it's easy to say, you know, a lot of thanks to Epstein, especially to Eric. You guys did a really nice job putting this together. We put all the stakeholders together. We had parks and libraries and folks from all different areas. And when we were out doing our walking tour, we met with Marist High School, and we met with a few other entities around here and so forth. But we covered quite a bit of ground to identify the need and a practical solution to this. Now, the biggest thing is everywhere that we want to discuss improvements need to be made are all owned, I should say, by the state and county. So while we were fortunate to get a grant to conduct this plan, the idea now is for Eric and his associates to present this to CMAP first, correct? Eric, who's getting this first?
So, I mean, CMAP's a part of this, so once you approve it, it will automatically go to CMAP, and it's already, like, you've approved it, so
Okay.
CMAP will have a copy of it as well.
Okay, because CMAP is kind of the intervening party that's going to speak to the state and county and all that.
CMAP is a great way to go through, so definitely keep in touch with them, and one of the things, and talk to them about how, hey, we want to work on this, can you help us approach IDOT or the county about working on this project. So it's definitely partly, it's important for the village to kind of go to CMAP and be willing to nudge them when you need to, but also leaning on CMAP to be able to have those discussions and bring you in and have those conversations with the state and county as well.
Right. I tried to do this very generically a couple of years ago where I had footprints and everything else, and I went down to Springfield with them, and I met with our legislators who are involved with the village of Alsip, and it didn't go very far because they're like, you need a real study on this and everything, and that's what we did here. So
yeah, having a plan is incredibly helpful, especially going after some of the grants that we do outline in the plan as well. Sometimes they require, hey, is this currently in a plan? So to be able to see it in a plan that's been adopted goes a long way for agencies issuing grants, regardless of level.
exactly. Trustees, any questions for Eric?
Very impressive.
Eric, it's very thorough.
Thank you.
Let's put it this way. It's a pretty good read, too.
We spent a lot of time on it, so
Exactly.
I'm glad to hear that.
Well, I appreciate your patience this evening. Thanks for coming out.
Thank you.
I'll put this on the agenda next week for approval.
All right.
And this way we'll get things moving along as quickly as we
All right.
can for CMAP and so forth.
All right.
too,
Thank
okay?
you so much.
All right. Have a great night.
You too. Thank you.
Thank you, Eric.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we'll continue with our reports. Let's go to our clerk's report. Clerk Harding.
Thank you, Mayor. Of the presentation of the June 2nd, 2025 board meeting minutes and the presentation of the May 2025 FOIA report, there were 43 FOIAs in May. And then I didn't make this to the agenda, but excuse me, I did want to say thank you to the mayor's assistant, Becky Smith, Trustee Cahill, and then Brittany and Lauren from the clerk's department for coming out to our clerk's dinner last Thursday at Fountain Hills. And also a huge congratulations to Erica O'Donnell, the office supervisor. She planned it, she organized it. It was an amazing meeting. We had great discussions with other municipalities. I think there was, 35, 40 people there.
Yeah, it was really nice.
It was a really good time. Food was great, of course, because Fountain Hills is always great. But Erica did a really, really great job doing that, and I just wanted to say thank you to those that did attend. And that was all I had, Mayor.
Thank you. We don't need an attorney this evening. Engineers report, Jeff Hagan. Jeff, can you grab a mic? Thanks.
Just report that the smoke testing is completed in the field.
Okay.
So we got around 90 deficiencies. And,
Oh, wow.
So
Okay.
we'll work on a report and get that off to you guys.
Jeff, that's sanitary sewers?
Correct. That's inflow and infiltration. So we pump smoke in the sanitary sewer and see where it comes out, because wherever it comes out is an opening where water, rainwater, stormwater, groundwater, downspouts in some instances are connected to the sanitary sewer. So with MWRD, they require investigation and repair. So we've been doing, manhole inspections and cleaning and televising all, programs to try to reduce the I&I, because whatever groundwater or rainwater gets in the sanitary sewer, that's all flows that need to get treated, and there's a cost to that. And it also, you have sanitary sewer backups, and so whatever you can, reduce, from a non-sanitary flows into your sanitary sewer, it's a plus from many different aspects.
Okay. Well, thank you, Jeff. Obviously, we're going to have some work ahead of us on, too, to look at 90 deficiencies. Okay.
Yep.
Public forum, anyone in the audience wish to address the board this evening?
Is it the public abandoned us?
Nobody? Then we'll move on to our standing committee reports, starting with Finance and IT. Justin McLaurin.
Thank you, Mayor. I will have the usual list of payroll and accounts payable for approval next week, and that's all I have.
All right, thank you. Fire committee report, Trustee Cahill.
Thank you, Mayor. Nothing on the agenda, but I just did want to let everybody know the old ladder truck was picked up by Louisville last Tuesday, so it is officially gone, and that is all I had, Mayor.
All right, thank you. Police and Traffic Safety Committee.
Nothing on the agenda, Mayor. Chief Miller, is there anything you would like to speak of?
No, we just, I just want to let the board know that we've been addressing the truck parking at Home Depot.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I forgot, Chief. Yeah.
With the help of Roger, we were able to find a zoning ordinance to enforce over there. Typically, it's very difficult to do without the cooperation of the property owner, which we have been in contact with the manager who's going to be putting some additional signing up. So we're working on that. We're down to it looks like there's 4 trucks that are probably abandoned there that have been stickered, so it'll be about a week or so, and we'll get those out of there.
Thanks, Chief. I went over there on whatever day last week, and you guys did a great job. Almost everything was gone. Like you said, there's just a couple empty trailers sitting there, and it's more toward the Home Depot side, but everything near the old LA Fitness is cleaned up. Looks great.
Correct.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, as I say, Trustee Cahill and I both drove by there after the meeting last week, and I say because it's set back off of Cicero, you don't notice it if you weren't looking for it. But I was amazed at the number of not only trucks back there, but the number of different trucks.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't just a single business that appeared to be using it as their parking lot. It was all kinds of different trucks and cabs and trailers.
Once word gets out, it's, hey, you can go park here for free. It spreads like wildfire. So.
Understood. No, you guys, thanks to your department, Chief. You guys did a great job. Next, we have the Public Work and Boat Launch. Trustee Cahill.
First, I have the presentation of the Public Works Department May 2025 monthly activity report. Mike, do you need to add anything, or? No. Okay, so that is all I have, Mayor.
All right, thank you. Sewer and Water Report. Trustee Love.
Thanks, Mayor. I'll have the presentation of the May 2025 Ricer activity report, and that's all I have for this evening.
Very good, thank you. Next, we have the Building and Health Report. Trustee Parada.
Thank you, Mayor. I have a presentation of the Building Department May 2025 monthly activity report. In that report, there were 133 permits issued, and once again, residential re-roofing led the pack with 36 permits issued. Residential fencing was at 19 permits issued, and a close third was electrical permits at 15. The amount collected, including inspector fees, was $57,093, and the estimated cost of construction is valued at $4,263,892. And that's all I have, Mayor.
That's huge.
Jeez.
$4 million worth of work getting done right now.
Very good.
Thank you.
That's awesome.
Next, we had Human Resource and Insurance report, trustee Murphy.
Nothing for this evening, Mayor.
All right, thank you. I did want to go back to the Building and Health, trustee Perrott, I forgot. Roger is working with a candidate right now to fill the health inspector position.
Okay.
And we're waiting on like a physical or something like that to come back, right? Okay, so we should have something pretty soon on that person.
Sounds good. Thank you, Mayor.
Special committee reports, economic development, trustee Love.
Nothing to report this evening, Mayor.
All right, thank you. Village properties, trustee McGlahorn.
No report this evening, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Ordinance legislation, trustee Perrott.
Thank you, Mayor. No agenda this evening.
Okay. Thank you. Trustee Murphy, you had item 2 on your list.
I do. I have a presentation of a list of licenses and review dated May 30th, 2025 through June 6th, 2025. Also want to announce new businesses in town, AA Scaffolding Express on 115th Street, and BBC Fasteners, LLC, on West 3701 West 128th Place. And that's all I have, sir.
All right, thank you. You know, trustees, something that, especially because we have a couple of new trustees on the board, please think about the conversations that we had tonight on the planning and zoning licenses, as far as if you want to impose any more restriction than what was discussed at the planning and zoning hearing. Whereas, Roger, just one more time review. At the hearing, they agreed to 10
Agreed, Sunday through Thursday, the last seating would be at 9 p.m.
Sunday through Thursday, last seating at 9 p.m.
And then Friday and Saturday, last seating would be at 10 p.m. and closing at 11.
Friday and Saturday, last seating is at 10 p.m., closed by 11. So nobody would be out there. Okay.
Mayor, Roger, wouldn't those licenses be renewed every year anyway? So if there was an issue next year, we can...
Revoke it shortly, there, within 30 days, we couldn't revoke it.
I'm just putting it out there as an option if there was a problem.
That's a great point, Chief. You know, we'll certainly, like anything else, everyone has certain expectations, and if it's not meeting our expectations or the neighbors, we can certainly review that particular. We'll offer them due process if we thought it was an emergency scenario, but if anything else, upon annual renewal of the license, we can certainly, Chief, as you said, look to impose a different closing time, if that was the problem, or if it's sound or whatever the case may be yet too, you know.
I do think that both owners are very, very well versed. They communicate very well with each other. I've had no issues with both owners of the building and the restaurant. They're both upfront and honest with us. They've done a great job of communicating. I don't see an issue with it being a patio, and I think what Steve seen was the beer garden, which is what our ordinance is, and that's all the restaurant is looking for is just
dining,
have some seating outside.
I think this is really getting a misnomer here. Being in the business, it's not really a beer garden. You know what I mean? It's more like outdoor dining. Yeah, I mean, you could say Deuce's was a beer garden. You know, it's primarily a bar. This is a restaurant where, you know, if it's too hot, you're not going to find anybody out there anyway. You know, so. And to the chief's point, you know, we could take a look at this in 30 days, 60 days, whatever, and make an action at that point. Mm-hmm. So I don't really see a problem with it.
We have to allow due process if that's
sure.
the case. But Roger wasn't mic'd up here, but for the benefit of the public, Roger said he doesn't anticipate any problems under this particular scenario that they proposed. So.
The only thing that we might want to include potentially as part of the stipulations is to make sure that there's no, say, incremental lighting outdoors that would impact the building. I mean, since it was discussed.
Oh, that's what Trustee Love was asking, yeah. Just to make sure it doesn't become obnoxious or annoying
Right, because
anybody out
it's
there.
not part of the stipulations that planning and zoning identified. I mean, like, they specifically said, no outdoor music, period. But I think, something in relation to the lighting.
I'll ask our attorney when he drafts the ordinance to take a look at, and make sure he's got that in there, okay?
Or like any incremental lighting is directed away from the apartment building so that they can point down, specifically at
Right.
the dining area, but nothing projecting out.
Right. And I certainly sympathize with the residents that came out to have their voices heard. They don't want, they're trying to live in they did move next to a commercial district, but they want to, reduce the amount of noise if possible, and I understand that. Like I said, I get annoyed just living on a side street and listening to these guys with these obnoxious mufflers lately and stuff, and too, it's ridiculous. So, did anyone have any presentations, petitions, or communications they wanted to share? Any unfinished business? How about any new business? I need to ask that we adjourn a closed session for a short meeting to request, to discuss the appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific employees of the public body or legal counsel for the public body, including hearing testimony on a complaint lodged against an employee of the public body or legal counsel for the public body to determine its validity pursuant to 5 ILCS 120/2, Chapter 1. Can I get a motion and a second to do so?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Roll call number 1 to adjourn to closed session. Trustee Dalzell is absent. Trustee McLaughlin?
Yes.
Trustee Murphy?
Yes.
Trustee Peretta?
Yes.
Trustee Cahill?
Yes.
Trustee Love? Motion carries to adjourn to closed session.
Bill, unfortunately, Trustee Love, I have to,
You got to cut him off.
I have to obviously end our